So, here he is, driving on the wrong side of the road. Quietly, please. We're not scared.
I'm frightened.
Look at him doing it. Car's coming this way. Are you scared, Tim?
Yes.
This is a really tiny car. I can't move my hand out really far enough. Look how serious he is, too. If this is the last video that I send, just remember us this way. Bye.
My name is Jacqueline MacIntyre, Jacqueline MacIntyre, as you would say in Gaelic. I come from Calgary, Alberta, right next to the Rocky Mountains in Canada. I'm here, as most of you are, to celebrate our people and our ancestral homeland. Everyone has a story about how they came to be here in Scotland at the World MacIntyre Gathering. I became interested in my origins when I was getting divorced and decided to change my name back to MacIntyre. What does it mean to be a MacIntyre? I wondered. Who are my MacIntyre people? And where did they come from? So I spent some time with my aunt, a family historian, poring over photos and records of births and deaths. My great-grandfather and two of his brothers came from Scotland to Canada in 1909, settling in Saskatchewan where they farmed. My aunt has our family history traced back to my sixth great-grandfather, James MacIntyre, born near Huntly in Aberdeenshire in 1748, right after the Jacobite uprising. But where did my MacIntyres come from before that? I wondered. I did a bit of research to learn everything I could about the history of the MacIntyre people. I learned about the Gaels coming to Ireland from the mainland of Europe, and some making their way to the Highlands and Islands of Scotland. I learned that the ancestors of our MacIntyres made their way from Ireland to the Sleat Peninsula on the Isle of Skye, and then to Glennoe on the mainland. There are myths of the journey and arrival of our people nearly 1,000 years ago to Glennoe on the shore of Loch Etive, at the foot of the mountain Ben Cruachan. I first came to Scotland 2 years ago, and I quickly fell in love with this land and the stories here. It is said that our MacIntyre people, long ago, lived on the Isle of Skye and were getting tired of raids. They sought out advice from an old woman with second sight. She told them to cross the land and follow their lead white cow down to rest, and that they were to make their home there. Along the way, when they approached the mountain Ben Cruachan, the mountain spirit stopped them at first, and after some time he told them they could continue around the mountain to make their home where their lead white cow would die. This became known as Glennoe, and our people remained there under the guardianship of the mountain for hundreds of years. I found this story on the internet, on Wikipedia, and it's also in Martin MacIntyre's book. I also found stories of the Cailleach, the creator goddess of the land, who spends time upon Ben Cruachan, and is said to have created Loch Awe. These stories may have been passed down from generation to generation in your family. Sadly, they were forgotten along my lineage, and I began to really feel the poverty of being disconnected from the stories, the songs, the language, the entire culture of the people who came before me. And yet, there are ways to reconnect and remember. While these stories are from a time long ago, they are very much still alive, for the mountain still speaks, and the Cailleach does too. Throughout the last 6 years, I've been working with a teacher who hears the stories that mountains tell. I was drawn to work with her well before I ever knew that the mountains guided my ancestors. Over the past 3 years, I've been approaching this mountain, Ben Cruachan, in a good way, slowly and with reverence. After all, this is the sacred mountain that guided our people for hundreds of years, and guided others before them. I have some stories to tell, which are born out of my relationship with the land where I live in Canada, and with this land here, the land of our people. The first one is called Reciprocity and Approach. I see the Cailleach, a cloaked woman in the sunlight. She's burying a gift, an offering to the mountain Ben Cruachan. I see her sleeves are rolled up as she digs into the rich, peaty earth with her bare hands. I introduce myself. She stands up and becomes much larger in front of me. She crosses a burn with great ease, and I try to follow her. I'm having some difficulty crossing over some large slippery stones, but she helps me across. We sit on the side of the mountain, and she stretches out her hand to feed the birds. She speaks to me. The mountain offers much to me. I give offerings to the mountain, and I give to others. Long, long ago, there was no other way to live, but in deep communion with the land. Your people looked to their human elders, to their ancestors, to the mountains and the trees, and to me for guidance. Most humans today go about their lives half asleep. They don't know the land where they live. They don't know their ancestors. They don't know where they've come from or where they are going. Let me help you become more alert, more awake, more aware of the world around you. Return to me, goddess of your ancestors. I will teach you about life and death and rebirth. Listen to the ancient ones. We've been here a long time. She continues, What brought you back to this place, to the land of your ancestors? It is no accident that you are here. Listen to the stories of your ancestors that you carry within your bones and your blood. Speak to the mountain and listen. Do this again and again. Get to know the ones that guided your ancestors long ago. We want to be honored and respected. We have a well of wisdom and gifts to share with you and your people. If you come to us, we will respond to you. Come offering something and ask for nothing. This is the way to approach the mountain and I. This next story here is called I Am Mountain. I am mountain, strong and powerful, the largest mountain around. I see the land all around me, the mountains, the glens, and the sea. I give of myself to the animals, the plants, and the humans. I give so much of myself, and yet I continue to give more. I do this willingly, and yet my heart is sad. The humans have not acknowledged all of the gifts that I have offered to them. People come inside my hollowed mountain to marvel at the achievements of man. Yet it is I who have given so much of myself to make this power station. This was a painful process for me, to be blasted and hollowed out. No one came to me to ask if they could do this work. It was a confusing time for me, as though the weather, sometimes fierce on the outside, also became fierce inside me. Back to me. At this moment, I'm still listening for the rest of the story, and begin to realize that the mountain has gone to sleep. He has quickly fallen into a deep slumber. I begin to sense it took a great deal of energy and concentration for the mountain to speak with me, and I ask my ancestors what happened. The mountain is tired, they say. He has forgotten how to respond to humans. Why wake up if no one calls your name? It has been a long, long time since humans spoke with and listened to the mountain. And this next one is called Coming Home to the Mountain. I see Grandfather Mountain, an old man with white hair. I begin to tell him that I and there's more than 200 MacIntyres here now, 200 other MacIntyres will be coming home very soon to the mountain and to the glen. He stares at me, then smiles, but doesn't speak. He looks around his home, which is dimly lit, a thick layer of dust upon everything. He hasn't had many visitors for a while. Some preparation may be necessary, some tidying done, some cobwebs removed. He begins to tell me a story. First he shows me a vision of the mountain glowing brilliantly, and our ancestors long ago drawn to this majestic stone one. No other mountain captured their attention as this one. Grandfather Mountain begins to speak. Your people came to me 1,000 years ago. They came to me, your people did. They came on bended knee, offering me gifts. This is what people did long ago when they approached a new land. Would you guide us? Would you teach us? Would you give us a place to call home? They asked. I told them no. That was my answer. They came to me again and again, offering more gifts,